Welcome back. Today, we're diving into the world of wheat pennies, those classic 1-cent coins minted between 1909 and 1958 that many people overlook. But here's the surprise. Some of these old pennies have sold for tens of thousands, even over $100,000. Rare dates, mint mark errors, and incredibly low mintages have made certain wheat pennies true treasures. So before you toss one aside, take a closer look. You could be holding a fortune in your fingers. The 1936 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny. Now this isn't just a coin. This is a portal back to the Great Depression, struck in the heart of the Dust Bowl era in Denver. And while millions were struggling to put food on the table, the U.S. Mint quietly produced a penny that would, nearly a century later, explode in value, leaving collectors stunned. Today, the right 1936 D. Wheat Penny, under the right conditions, has been known to sell for over $195,000. Let that sink in. A 1-cent coin that most people wouldn't look at twice could be worth more than a luxury car or even a house. And it's all because of a few very special details that most people overlook. First off, this penny carries the D mint mark, meaning it was struck in Denver. Now, Denver did mint quite a few of these, over 40 million. But here's the catch. Most of them were poorly struck. Weak details, uneven surfaces, and poor alignment were common that year at the Denver Mint. So, finding a 1936 D penny that is sharply struck, full of detail, and preserved in great condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. But the real money comes when errors enter the picture. One of the rarest and most valuable versions of the 1936 D wheat penny is the doubled die obverse. On these coins, the date, lettering, and even Lincoln's profile show obvious doubling, caused by a misaligned hubbing process during production. These errors are rare and dramatic, and when certified by top grading companies, they can command 5- and 6-figure prices. Collectors go wild for these. A circulated example with clear doubling can still fetch over $1,000, while a mint state red gem with the doubled die can exceed $125,000 at auction. And it's not just about errors. If your 1936 D is perfectly preserved, shiny, uncirculated, full red color, and no damage, you could be looking at values between $3,000 and $28,000, even without any major errors. And that's for a coin that's been hiding in drawers and coffee cans for generations. Even coins in worn, circulated condition can hold value if they show minor die cracks, planchet flaws, or off-center strikes. In those cases, you could be sitting on a $400 to $5,000 coin, depending on the severity and visibility of the flaw. Now think about it. This penny has survived nearly 9 decades. It's lived through world wars, economic collapses, the moon landing, and the invention of the internet. And here it is today, still whispering the stories of 1936, a time when gas was 10 cents a gallon, a loaf of bread cost a nickel, and every penny truly mattered. So, the next time you come across a 1936 D wheat penny, take a long, close look. That little D under the date could mean something far bigger than you ever expected. You might just be holding a forgotten treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. This coin proves that sometimes the most valuable things are the ones we overlook. Keep your eyes open, because your change jar might just hold the next big surprise, the 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Now don't blink, because what I'm about to tell you might just have you digging through your old change jar by the end of this video. At first glance, it's a simple copper-colored penny, worn down by time, its features softened from years of circulation. But hidden beneath that humble surface lies a story, a legacy, and a potential value that can shock even the most seasoned collectors. Because yes, a 1935 wheat penny, even in circulated condition, has sold for up to $85,000. And here's exactly why. This penny was minted during the Great Depression, an era when every cent truly mattered. Families were struggling, the economy was crumbling, and yet millions of these coins were still being struck at U.S. mints. Over 245 million Lincoln cents were produced in 1935, making it seem like a common coin. But not all 1935 pennies were created equal. Our coin here, clearly circulated, worn from the touch of thousands of hands, may look ordinary. But when it comes to numismatics, condition isn't everything. What really drives the value sky high are the rare varieties and errors. And yes, 1935 has a few that collectors dream of finding. Some of the rarest versions of this coin were struck with double die errors, especially on the obverse, where the date or the words "In God We Trust" appear doubled. These aren't easy to see at first, but once spotted, they can raise the coin's value dramatically. 1 double die 1935. Lincoln penny in high grade sold for over $45,000, and that was just for one simple error. But let's talk about the ultimate prize: off-metal strikes. Imagine a 1935 penny struck on a silver dime planche by mistake. Sounds impossible? Well, one such coin has sold for a whopping $85,000 because of that one shocking mint error. Just a few grams of the wrong metal made it a one-in-a-million collector's dream. Even without errors, a 1935 penny in mint state, bright red, never circulated, can fetch thousands. One MS-67 red example sold at auction for $7,800. And some collectors will pay top dollar for pennies with deep, original luster and no signs of cleaning or damage. But here's the part that really strikes a chord. Many of these coins were tucked away by parents, grandparents, or even great-grandparents who simply wanted to save something meaningful from a difficult time in American history. Today, those very coins could be tucked in a drawer, resting in an old jar, or forgotten in a dusty attic. And they might be worth more than your monthly mortgage. So if you're holding a 1935 wheat penny, take a close look. Check the edges. Look for doubling. Weigh it. Is the color unusual? Could it be an off-metal strike? Because it might not just be an old penny. It might be a piece of American resilience, and one that collectors would pay tens of thousands of dollars to get their hands on. The 1942 Lincoln Wheat, penny without a mint mark. Now at first glance, this coin might seem like just another old penny. Nothing fancy, just copper, worn down by time and trade. But this little coin, hiding in plain sight, might just be a life-changing treasure. Because believe it or not, the 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark has stunned collectors by reaching jaw-dropping values of up to $85,000. Yes, for a single cent. Let's go back to the heart of World War II. In 1942, the United States was deep in the war effort. Steel, copper, and other essential materials were being diverted for military use. But the U.S. Mint still had to produce millions of coins to keep the country running. So they struck over 657 million Lincoln pennies in Philadelphia that year, and none of them carried a mint mark. On the surface, that makes it sound like they're common. But what most people don't realize is that this exact year was full of chaotic experimentation, and that's where the value comes in. During this time, the mint was switching metal compositions. They were moving from traditional bronze to steel for upcoming wartime issues. In the process, all kinds of unintentional errors started slipping through. Some 1942 pennies were struck on silver dime blanks, some on foreign planchets, and others had wild doubling on the date or lettering. One especially rare version, a 1942 penny struck on a brass alloy transitional planche, was sold at auction for more than $75,000. Even without an error, if your 1942 wheat penny is in stunning condition, uncirculated full red tone with crisp features, it can demand thousands. A perfect mint state example, graded MS68 red, has brought in as much as $14,500 at auction. And those are just the publicly known sales. Private collectors have been known to go even higher for flawless examples. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Even a circulated 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark, like the one you might find in an old jar or drawer, can hold serious value. If it has a small error, like a die crack, off-center strike, or lamination flaw, you're looking at a potential value between $1,500 and $9,000. And if it combines two or more errors, it could easily shoot above $25,000. That's not fiction. That's real collector demand. What makes these coins so special is their connection to history. This penny was struck during one of the most intense, uncertain times in American life. Families were sending loved ones off to war. Ration books were common. Victory gardens were everywhere. And through all of that, pennies like this were changing hands daily, buying candy, coffee, stamps, or simply being saved for better days. It's more than metal. It's a living memory, frozen in copper. So if you ever come across a 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark, don't dismiss it. Study it closely. Look for unusual markings, doubling, color, or even the weight. Because a simple copper coin from over 80 years ago could end up being your ticket to a fortune. And remember, the next $1 million find could be sitting quietly in your change jar, waiting to be discovered. Today, we're diving into the history of the Washington $quarter coin, one of America's most iconic pieces of change. But here's what most people don't know. A few rare versions have fetched jaw-dropping prices at auction thanks to mint errors, rare years, and special strikes. That simple 25-cent coin in your pocket might just be worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands, of dollars. Stick around. You won't believe what some of these are selling for. The 1990p Washington $quarter. It's one of those coins that might seem completely ordinary until you take a closer look. Minted in Philadelphia, this quarter doesn't scream for attention. But the moment you understand what to look for, this coin can deliver a jaw-dropping surprise. We're talking real collector value here, up to $90,000 in rare cases. Yes, $90,000. For a coin you could have had in your pocket change back in the day. Let's unravel the mystery behind this innocent-looking coin. First, this quarter was struck during a transitional era. The U.S. Mint was churning out millions of coins, and with that high production came mistakes. Mistakes that collectors today are obsessed with. And some of those mistakes, if they made it past quality control, became high-value treasures. The 1990p quarter is a prime example of just that. In good condition, like the one we're looking at, this coin still shows the proud profile of George Washington on the obverse, with the P mint mark sitting neatly beside it. The reverse displays the majestic eagle with outstretched wings. But here's the thing. Some 1990p quarters are hiding errors that are almost invisible to the untrained eye, yet worth a fortune. Among the rarest of these? The doubled die obverse. You might notice it in the word liberty or in God We Trust. That subtle doubling makes all the difference. When verified and graded in uncirculated or mint state condition, collectors have paid tens of thousands, even as much as $90,000, for a coin with this rare flaw. And if it comes with a missing clad layer, revealing the bronze core underneath, even more jaw-dropping. And here's where it gets personal. So many of our viewers remember using quarters like these in vending machines or flipping them for a bet. It's wild to imagine that some of those very coins could be sitting in your drawer right now, worth more than a luxury car. This isn't just about money. It's about discovering a hidden gem that connects you to the past and could change your future. Even without a dramatic error, a 1990p quarter in brilliant, uncirculated condition can still bring in hundreds, sometimes even thousands, if the coin is flawless and well-preserved. Why? Because as more collectors enter the market, the demand for clean, original coins from everyday years is skyrocketing, and that demand drives up prices like crazy. Think about that. One tiny imperfection, or one lucky condition, and you're holding a fortune. These are the coins hiding in plain sight, waiting to be rediscovered by someone with a sharp eye and a little curiosity. Could that someone be you? So before you toss your change into the jar, take another look. Flip it. Inspect it. Because the 1990p quarter could be your ticket to something truly unforgettable. The 1985p Washington $quarter. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary coin that's passed through thousands of hands. Just a regular Philadelphia minted quarter, right? But don't blink, because this unassuming 25-cent piece has turned heads in the collector world, fetching staggering prices of $85,000 and more for certain rare conditions and error varieties. Yes, you heard that right. $85,000 for a quarter. Let's dive into what makes this coin so exciting and so incredibly valuable. First, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as denoted by the P just to the right of George Washington's neck. Back in the mid-1980s, coin collecting was nowhere near as hyped as it is today. That means many of these quarters were used, spent, tossed into jars, and forgotten. Finding one in pristine condition today? Almost impossible. But that's what makes the hunt so thrilling. Now here's the catch. This coin becomes truly valuable when a rare mint error is involved. Some 1985 P quarters were struck off-center, creating a wild, dramatic visual that instantly raises collector demand. Others feature double-die errors, where parts of the design, like the letters in Liberty or In God We Trust, appear shadowed or doubled. These flaws weren't meant to happen, but when they did, they created something truly rare. And collectors today will pay top dollar for them. One of the most shocking versions ever found? A full double die, obverse with uncirculated condition. That single coin reached $88,000 at auction, simply because of its clear doubling and the fact it was untouched by circulation. A little coin, the kind you might find rolling around in your glove box, sold for more than the average American salary. Even in circulated condition like the one we're talking about here, a 1985 P quarter can surprise you. Coins with rim errors, die clashes, or missing clad layers, even if lightly worn, can still be worth thousands. Yes, thousands for a coin you probably never even looked twice at. And what really drives the excitement for these coins isn't just the money, it's the nostalgia. Many of our viewers remember using these exact quarters for gas, groceries, and arcade games. Now imagine flipping through an old jar and realizing one of those quarters could fund your dream vacation or even part of your retirement. This is why collectors are searching relentlessly through their old change, coin rolls, and dusty drawers. The thrill of possibly owning a piece of history that others missed is what keeps this hobby so alive. And with values like $85,000 in play, this hobby suddenly feels more like treasure hunting. So next time you see a 1985 P quarter, don't ignore it. Inspect it. Hold it up to the light. Look at every detail, because it just might be the key to a life-changing discovery. And we're just getting started. The 1991 D Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it might look like just another ordinary coin. Worn from time and touched by countless hands, its edges are smooth, the shine long gone, replaced with a soft, dull gray patina that tells a story of decades in circulation. But don't blink, because this one might just blow your mind. Hidden in that pocket change, that old jar of forgotten coins in the kitchen drawer, could be a quarter that collectors would pay tens of thousands, yes, even over 60,000, to own. And the most shocking part? It could be hiding in plain sight. Now let's dive into why this quarter is turning heads. First, minted in Denver. In 1991, this coin features the classic bust of George Washington on the obverse, the front, facing left. The designer, John Flanagan, originally sculpted this iconic image all the way back in 1932, and it's been on quarters ever since. But what makes this 1991 D quarter different isn't just the history. It's the possibility of rare and highly valuable mint errors that launch this humble coin into collector superstardom. There are a few rare 1991 D quarters floating out there with misaligned dies, double strikes, and the crown jewel of all errors: off-center strikes and missing clad layers. Imagine finding a coin where part of the copper core is exposed, the nickel coating never applied. It looks almost like it's peeling away from the inside. These aren't just rare, they're astonishing. When certified by trusted grading companies like PCGS or NGC, these errors can skyrocket in value. One verified 1991 D quarter with a severe off-center strike sold at auction for over $62,000. Just one coin, one lucky find. Even coins in simple, circulated condition, like the one you're seeing now, can fetch impressive prices, $50 to $100 for lightly worn examples. But the real treasure starts when a coin has that one tiny mistake from the mint that went unnoticed. That's the jackpot. Because error coins are like nature's accidents. But in the coin world, that mistake makes it gold. Collectors in their 60s and 70s are often stunned to find out that the change they grew up with, quarters they used to buy a soda or ride the bus, are now worth more than their first cars. This isn't just a story about old money. It's a story about hidden value, nostalgia, and the thrill of discovering something extraordinary in the most ordinary of places. And the 1991 D Washington quarter is proof of that magic. So next time you come across a quarter, take a closer look. That old coin with a D under the date? That might just be your ticket to a 5-figure payday. Keep your eyes peeled, check both sides, and look for signs of double images, missing layers, or anything that looks just a little off. Because in the world of coin collecting, that little flaw is worth a fortune.